How we're doing. Hey everybody, how are you doing tonight? Super excited. We have some exciting recovery announcements for you. And I have got my friend John, who runs an amazing recovery organization called Reboot Jackson. He is also the founder of the Heroes Initiative, which gives Narcan to first responders, which is so important. He's making huge changes in the state of Georgia. So, if you are in the state of Georgia, please drop where you are watching from. If you are in recovery, let us celebrate your recovery dates on here too, and we will get started. We've got some news. And John, will you just do a quick introduction about yourself and what you do?
Sure. And thank you for doing this interview. Got some pretty exciting information for me. So I am John Langston, and I am a person in long-term recovery. And what that looks like for me is September the 9th of last year was 15 years without any minor mood altering substances. In that process, it has enabled me to, along with my wife, to found Reboot Jackson. And I can't take the kudos for running Reboot Jackson, Jamie. That is all my wife and that team she has put together over there. They are an amazing team at Reboot Jackson. So, but yes, we did start the Heroes Initiative last year. We had the first one that we've ever done. Very successful. I don't have off the top of my head the exact number of doses of Narcan that we're able to distribute out of that. But we do have that set again for this year. It will not be on Overdose Awareness Day, simply because there are so many other great events that are already in play on that day. So we backed it up a few weeks, and I'll see if I can come up with that date between now and the time we end this, and be able to give you that date too. But we've started a motorcycle club called the Grateful Few Recovery Riding Club, and we do events throughout the year, and we purchase Narcan with it, and it goes to first responders and law enforcement. And so I don't say that I am a harm reductionist, but I am all about Narcan. I know it saves lives, and not just Narcan in particular, but naloxone. Um, it saves lives. Yeah, it's saved my wife's life, and I have a lot of people that I know in recovery that have the opportunity to recover today because of it. So that's a pretty hard burden on my spirit to help get Narcan where it can be.
Super important. I think we both have some very important people in our lives that have been saved by Narcan. So grateful for that being so available and all the work that you're doing with it. So we are kind of talking recovery politics tonight, right? So this will be great education. It's interesting. I just took the science of addiction recovery, the SOARS training, and I recorded because George was talking about some cool facts about, the brain and healing and things like that. And I put it on a reel and put it out. And, it's so interesting. I think it got somewhere around 50,000 views, and so many people are arguing on it about whether or not your brain heals after 14 months of discontinued methamphetamine use. And I and that, this is false information. And I'm like, people don't know the facts. They don't know the facts about the science of addiction. They don't know the facts about the political and the government and how that works in recovery and how they have a voice in it. So I think it's so important that we do more equipping and educating for people out here who are even in early recovery.
Yeah, no, I agree with that 100%. And I'll come right back to that. So the Heroes Initiative Gala will be August the 10th of this year at 6 p.m. and it will be at the Brazelton Civic Center in Brazelton, Georgia. They got a beautiful facility over
I
there.
was gonna say that's gonna be a nice event. I'm putting
Yeah.
it in my
Yeah.
calendar right now.
Yeah. But yes, as far as education, I think that is one of the biggest downfalls. Um, and I'll just say it for the recovery community, because we don't educate ourselves as people in recovery to know what the real is. We know what real is in our lives. We know what our experience has been. And my experience is not yours, and yours is not mine. So we're aware of that. But as far as what the real is in the world today, and fresh on my mind right now is the overdose rate. 2 years ago, everybody said, "Oh, it's COVID. That's why everything's going up," and it was 107,000 people that had passed due to overdose. Last year it was 110,000, and the CDC just put out 2023 numbers is 111,000. So it's not coming down. It
Right.
wasn't quite as big a jump this year, or in 23, from 22 to 23 as it was 21 to 22, but it's not coming down. That's the bottom line. Overdoses are very there. Fentanyl's in everything, and that's kind of what leads me to do what we're in process of doing with legislation now. There's three different bills at the state capitol right now that all deal with a opiate antagonist, a naloxone derivative of some kind, whether it's vending machines or going into uh, elementary and primary schools, and then what we're working on with overdose reversal kits. So for me, it doesn't matter if it's marijuana, if it's methamphetamine, if it's a fake peel. Fentanyl's in everything. It is a broad brush in the street right now. And so our solutions have to be broad too. We can't one way is not the answer. We have to have as much opportunity to save a life as possible, and that's kind of what's really got us, or got me headed in the direction that I'm headed with legislation.
So, okay, let's talk to us who don't know about how government things work and how bills get written up and things like that, because I feel like the recovery community doesn't understand that the power that they have in these things.
Right. Well, just to be honest, I don't know all these answers either. um, a few years back, kudos to Jeff Breedlove. Um, that man is amazing with how he handles politics. I mean, that's what he's done all his life. He is a scholar at it. A few years back, he started helping me and showing me and teaching me how to use a voice in that kind of realm. And to say that I knew anything about it, I would just be straight telling a lie. And to say I know a whole lot about it now would not be too truthful either. Um, but in the process of what we're doing, just so people are aware, overdose reversal kits, we've been putting them out in Jackson County um, for 6 or 8 months now. We actually started doing them back around summer of last year, and we actually got 5 put in the state capitol. We got one when you go directly into the common entrance of the state capitol, go past the guards, the state patrol shack right there. There's a fire extinguisher, an AED box, and an overdose reversal kit hanging on the wall at the state capitol. There's one in each house ante room, one in a Senate ante room, and one in the medical office. So we've got 5 at the capitol. Um, that was kind of the start. We kind of had talked about doing legislation, but we wanted them in the Capitol before we started, just to just so we could say, hey, the Capitol has them right there.
Mhm.
Ultimately for me, Honolulu, Hawaii, the mayor of Honolulu passed a code, an ordinance. It's been about 6 months ago now. Every bar, restaurant, motel, they have to have an opiate antagonist on site of some form. That's where I want to go with this. The legislation that we're working on right now is it's House Bill 1170, HB 1170, and it is just that. It is referencing AED boxes, and it's targeting government facilities that have AED boxes to where they have the ability to put them into those government facilities. It helps to create uh, a a uniform training to be done across the state with the employees in those facilities. That training is to be advised on and created by the DBHDD, medical, clinical, and peer support professionals and organizations. So it'll be a collaborative effort among boots on the ground, administrative, to put a training together on this box that's there. For me, the biggest thing with it is it I want to eliminate some stigma. The numbers on AED, on heart attack deaths, they created that legislation in '08. In '07, the heart attack death rate was like 35 people per 100,000. Right now, the CDC has just put out the information. Overdose death rates are 31 per 100,000. Do we have to get to 5 more people per 100,000 before we do something? So let's get them out, get them public, get them next to AED boxes, and let's get rid of the stigma. You know, people are worth saving. Bottom line.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, um, so you are in. Who are you working with that's writing this House bill?
Me and Jeff wrote the language, um, and Houston Gaines from there in Clark County. He comes over into Jackson County. His district comes into our county too, and so I'm have a real good relationship with Representative Gaines, and so he actually took it for us to Legislative Council and got them to write it and get everything going for that. Um, we actually have Representative Chairman Lee Hawkins. He's from Hall County, and he is the chair of the Health Committee, but he's also on the Public Health Committee, and so he's sponsoring the bill. It's going through the Health Committee. We actually have a hearing tomorrow with the Health Committee at 2 o'clock at the Capitol, room 403. If you happen to come to the Capitol tomorrow, be there at 2 o'clock. 403 is the room number. But it's full bipartisan. We have two representatives that are Democrats, two representatives that are uh, Republicans as second signers onto the legislation. So it's full bipartisan, and we're in the game. We'll see what happens. But we haven't had a lot of pushback from legislation. They know what's going on. They know what's real out in the communities, and they understand what's going on. So
So, what, I mean, besides showing up at the Capitol tomorrow to room 403, what do you need from the recovery community to help support this?
right now, um, really nothing. It really kind of hinges on how the committee meeting goes tomorrow. We have done some communications with some of the large associations in the state um, that we know are going to be affected. They also don't really have a big push back. Their biggest concern is, the financing to be able to do it. Um, we did write it into the legislation as far as the finances that, grants, donations, however the cities, the local governments, however the local governments can find to pay for it is fine. They don't have to go into their personal budget, their city budget or their county budget to make it happen. So, and they're pretty pleased with that. So right now, just knowing what it is, and it's HB 1170. If somebody wants to send an email to their representatives that, hey, we're in support of HB 1170 right now,
So,
that's
you mean there, okay, when you say representatives specifically,
um we're going through the House side right now.
Okay.
So right now it's just on the representative sides.
So
Um,
their whoever their House representative
correct.
is.
That's correct. That's
Okay,
correct.
because that's what I wanted to. Okay. So you could send an email. I'm just going to put this in the chat. Send an email to the House representative, and tell me the House bill number again.
HB 1170.
Okay. All right. Awesome. Um so and you'll find out about this. Now this is so important because it's talking about restaurants, bars, government agencies.
The legislation, the 1170 legislation is strictly for government facilities.
So
And that'll
example would be
it'll include courthouses, it'll include universities, colleges, and of course state government buildings.
okay.
We were going after everything to begin with, and after talking with legislators, they were like, "That's not going to happen." so, we backed it down. Said, "Okay, let's get our government facilities on board. Then once we get them on board, we can go back and basically a semicolon at the end of this legislation to go back and add the others in next year." So we're just trying to take a little bite, get that bite, and then we'll try to go after another bite later. So
Yeah, because I mean, I just heard a story, I want to say like 2 weeks ago about 9 people overdosing in a bar that were doing cocaine. So
yeah,
that's interesting.
it is, and it there's for me, we got 3 school districts in Jackson County, and in talking with them, they have nurses that have it, they have school resource officers that have it, and that's great. I'm super glad they do. Um, for me, my thinking is always, okay, that school resource officer is cruising through the school. He probably doesn't have that naloxone on his person. It's probably in his vehicle. Same with a nurse. That nurse is cruising through the school. It's probably not on her person. It's probably in the medical office. Well, how far away is that car? How far away is that medical office? And so to have it available just as an AED box, to have it available, if you can run and get the pads and get the defibrillator device back to a person and save them from a heart attack, that's about the same time frame that you're going to need for an overdose reversal. So that's why we targeted that legislation as what's already there. Let's go for that. And like I said, the government facilities is just being honest. That's our first go. If we can, when we get this in place, then we can look at bars, restaurants, motels. Uh, you know, if people really know what's going on,
Mm-hmm.
that's where it needs to be. And I
Yeah,
told
definitely.
a lady interviewed me a couple of weeks ago about it, and she was like, "Do you really think anybody's going to overdose in a government building?" Probably not. Really and truly, just to be honest, I don't think so. But what I know is if I had went to any government building when I was in active use, I would have been high. With what's in the street right now and so many different substances, if somebody's using and they go to a government building, there's a potential for them to overdose. So that's really our target right now, and that's all this legislation is aiming at is government entities.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I feel like when you're talking about the school systems, I mean, to me it almost seems like it should go, when you start school and it's got like your school supply list, you need like two 5-star notebooks, pencils, crayons, like whatever. Like I think Narcan should be on the list. Like, hey, mom and dad, like this is what you need to send your kid to school with every day, you know.
And I agree on the being in the schools. There is legislation. It's not ours, but there is legislation um, on the Senate side that is primary school and secondary, elementary and secondary. So um, that's that's being aimed at, and that I'm 100% in support of it. I know the lady, the lobbyist that's pushing it in. I know who was the author, and I'm all for it. I think it needs to be there.
Definitely. Let's see. Thank you, Jesse. Um, I just want to flash this comment up here for you, John, and ask you if this is true.
That's not true.
Okay. I had never
Nar-
heard that
Nar-
before.
no, Narcan is manufactured by Emergent Biosolutions, which is a company based out of Florida. Um, yeah, so that's not correct. Now there is there is a opioid antagonist that has been created by Big Pharma, but it's Narcan's. That's not the one.
Okay. I just want to clear up the clear up the confusion on that. Awesome. Well, um let's see. What else, anything else that you want to talk about? Or does that cover everything?
That that kind of covers where I'm at right now with what we've got going and what I mean. Jen and them always got a mess going on at Reboot. They always doving off into something new to help and benefit the recovery community. So I can't speak for them because
Gotcha.
I'm not there, but but yeah, that's what I've got going on right now and what we're working on. And you know, we're in the game. We'll see. Tomorrow's a big day. And if people want to send just something very simple as far as that they're in support of HB 1170, that'll be great. Um, After tomorrow, we'll know a little better. If things go well, we may not need to do anything else. If suddenly some pushback comes, then we may need to get out some language to people to really get to their legislation. But um, right now, we coming up to bat. We'll see what we get, and we'll know better how to do after tomorrow.
Awesome. All right. Well, I'm looking forward to the update. For all my prayer warriors out there, I want you to put up a special prayer for this to go through free and painless tomorrow. And yeah, and we will update you guys when we find out anything else. Thank you so much for all the amazing work that you do in our community. If you would not mind, you guys head over to the Reboot Jackson Facebook page. Make sure you give them a like and a follow. We support their mission 100%. So yeah, that's all we got for you right now. All
Thank you very
right.
much, Jamie. I appreciate the opportunity.
Yes, yes. All right. Talk to you soon. Tell Jen I said hi.
I'll do it.
All right. Bye.
Bye.